You are listening to Off the Record with your hosts, Linda and Keone. Welcome back to Off the Record with Linda and Keone. Today we have a guest here with us. Her name is Jannie. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Jannie, and I'm here to talk about Queen of Tears. I'm really excited.
Yeah, so we're now back to watching episode 3, and we went ahead and watched a couple scenes from that episode.
So, last episode, we left off with criticizing the crap out of Koreans and how they don't know how to use firearms. I'm sorry, Koreans. Still gotta learn how to do that. But we left off at the heroic scene where Hyunwoo saves Haein from the poorly created CGI boar. And has now, what's the word I'm looking for? Swayed her heart.
Oh, in more ways than one.
Right? And, of course, when I first watched this, the first time around, I thought that boar was there for the chairman, her grandfather.
Yeah.
And the reason I thought that was because immediately he was, like, paranoid and thought someone was trying to kill him.
Right.
And then I watched it again, I was like, wait a minute, no, this was just Eun-sung trying to basically
have his hero moment.
Yeah, have his little heroic moment to remind her that he was there, right?
Mm-hmm. He was looking out for her.
Yeah, question, where was he through this entire thing?
Sneaking around little bushes like the little rat he is.
Well, it's like he knew where they were supposed to be. He has to. The forest is not that big. Like, their section. So
well, and he knew exactly where they were.
Yeah.
He was
stalking them. Yeah. So it's kind of funny that it's kind of not him and end up being Hyunwoo. You know, I'm actually curious what would have happened if he arrived at the same time. I think I said that in the last podcast. Like, would they have fought each other on the boar?
Who knows?
What are your thoughts, Jannie?
Well, personally, I think it's supposed to be the bridge that basically starts bringing them together, right? Again, I agree with you. The boars, the CGI was god-awful.
I mean, we're not going to be, like, focused on that.
No, of course not.
It's the moment.
But, you know, we're also getting into what her illness is doing to her, right? This is, like, the first time we're actually seeing how it could literally... She needs help.
Right. It's life or death situation.
Yes, and she's, you know, a very independent person, and she's basically not reaching out for help, right? Which... We'll talk about this later because we're at the scene where I actually want to discuss. But yes,
did you think Hyunwoo redeemed himself in that moment when he chose to step out and protect her?
Redeemed himself in what way?
In any way?
No, because I think he would have done it for anyone.
Okay.
I don't think his character is someone. Obviously, they go into his military background, what he's capable of. He stepped in and for the dog. Let's be real. Like, that's just... I'm not comparing her to a dog. But I'm just saying that that's who he is. Okay. He is that type of person. Yeah. He, even though he tried to say, he hesitated, he didn't. You know, he stepped in because that is what he does.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He is the protagonist. The protagonist needs to do that.
So, in this first part of the episode, they do recount a previous memory because in that moment you got to see Haein's POV. Yes. Now, if you've been listening to our podcast up to this point, you would hear how many times Keone and I just kept whining about how we want more Haein's POV, more, because her point of view and perspective is so important to create the rest of the dialogue, the rest of the story about them. Because so far we've only seen Hyunwoo's point of view for the most part, and it skews the audience into their own opinions of what's going on, right, and how they feel about certain characters. Yeah. So in this flashback scene, we see that in the moment of death or near death, she remembers this moment in particular, and this moment was when he first took her back to Yeongdeori, which is his hometown, and he shows her around. This is my life. This is my family orchards, I believe is what he said. And this is my, we're affluent around here. I can take care of you.
My question is, though, why this particular memory?
So I was getting to that. So aside from this quirky moment where he's basically still talking to her as if she's someone that he needs to take care of, and making fun of her clothes that has holes in it, quote unquote, right? And
or something
this
his grandma
scene-
would wear.
yeah, something his grandma would wear. And this scene where she's never had an ice popsicle before,
Yeah.
and he forms in his own head why she didn't have a happy childhood,
Right.
why she was deprived of certain things. And so that
You were
aside,
deprived, yeah.
yeah, that aside, that wasn't what made this memory special to her. What made it special was what he said at the very end. And that was when he said, "I will always be by your side."
Yes. Yep.
And that is the only really important part about this scene and why she remembered it. Because she even
Right.
questioned, why did I think about this memory? Like, why did I think of you in that moment before I die?
Yeah.
Well, she even brings it up again when he tries to tell her, he hesitated. And she's like, no. Love
he
is
didn't.
being
Yeah.
together,
Right.
right?
Should we just skip to the part where Jannie wants to talk about
No! We don't
Oh, no,
have to.
and the one thing I wanted to point out about specifically this memory is from the last episode we talked about how, her character Han is just, on the most part, very kind of cold, collected kind of person, and not really feeling. But like we said in the previous episode, when she is dressed a certain way in different colors like this, like more of a warmer color like pink, you see her feel more. You see her becoming a little bit more human, if you will.
Right.
So I think that helps bring a little bit more contrast for her character, particularly after we've seen her in the last 2 episodes. So
I guess. I would say that she still was being herself here. I
no, she is.
Yeah, I still think she's still not as feeling as she normally would, but you see her in a different light.
Yeah,
literally,
for sure.
Right?
Literally.
Yeah. So in this scene is all about her, how she sees him, how she feels about him, and this to me starts the clock for her finding her way back to him.
You think so? You think this is like the
Yes.
penultimate moment in which she's like, okay, this is my husband.
Yes.
This
And
is.
the reason I say that
He still loves me.
Yes, and the reason I say that is because up to this moment, this would have been the most he's done for her.
Yeah.
I don't know if that necessarily is. I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I also think that's more to that because she also leaves this moment and she goes into the world and she's also noticing the hardships of other people. Like, it's a turning point for her to realize that, hey, there are other people that are going through things and it's making her feel something when she's been closed off. Like, even the cat, the poor kitten she rescued.
Yes, the cat that she's feeding.
Right, and
yeah.
rescuing. She's like, what's going on? Like, she's
Right.
questioning everything, including the feelings that now are re-emerging for
Right.
her husband. So this is not just her turning point with him, but just her entire life
Right.
now. She's allowing herself to feel where she didn't for so long.
But is it because of this moment that triggers that all, or because she goes to the doctor initially asking, "Oh, is it the tumor that's making me feel these feelings?"
She goes afterwards to the
Right,
doctor,
right. Yeah.
So I would say yes, because this is the moment where she talked about this. She said, if this is how it feels to die, then I don't want to die.
Yeah.
That's what she says right here, right before this another cute scene they have with him having to carry her, right?
Oh my god! Look at that.
It's not a Korean drama until somebody carries you. Like,
yeah.
So, for me, 100%, I think this is a turning point, and I agree with Jannie, right? It's really much more than about her feelings for her husband, but it's more about her realizing that it's okay to feel sorry for someone else. It's not a sign of weakness to feel.
Right.
Because as we go through the episode, you see that she was feeling a certain way about strangers, right? That she doesn't even know about how they're going through their struggles.
Right. But then she starts feeling empathy towards them.
Exactly, and then that's when she said, "Doctor, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Is this a condition?"
Yeah.
Because I used to never care about people. And that's really funny the way they made that sound, that it was her condition that made her feel, but in reality, it was because of the condition that is what made, or because of her illness, I should say,
Right.
is what is causing her to realize she can feel. She's running out of time. So she doesn't want to deprive herself any longer of doing and feeling and saying whatever she wants.
Right. Right.
Fun fact, that guy right there, the actor for her brother.
Suchol.
Yeah. Well, that's the character.
Yeah.
I'm currently watching Fight for My Life, and he's her ex-boyfriend.
So
He cheats on
scandalous.
her. I know.
How dare he?
And he gets beaten by her too. So
Wow.
so this is the second drama now that he gets beaten to death by Kim Ji-won. So applause for him.
You might say he enjoys it.
Oh dear.
Who wouldn't?
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Oh, this is the scene where.
Oh
where-
my gosh.
Oh my God! Bumja says as she watches this sweet.
I mean,
sweet
come
scene.
on. How-
This is a nice shot, actually. With
Framed so well.
with the flowers in the foreground. Yeah, that's an excellent shot.
I bet you that waiter was not supposed to be there.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. The waiter walked right in the middle of the shot.
Yep.
Well, the good news is he can carry her. I've seen some dramas where the male lead cannot lift the girl.
Oh.
Dang.
And yeah, and the girl is obviously weighs like 100 pounds, right? And the dude looks like buff, right? Like he's like a good, strong dude.
Like
And
he's struggling.
he couldn't pick her up from her seat. Like she had to stand on her seat so he could. So yeah, it's a good thing.
After this scene right here in particular where her mom hears about Haein getting injured, this is one of the few scenes we see her actually get incredibly concerned about her daughter's condition from the get-go.
Yeah, that's true. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that.
Like she rushes out to see her and whatnot, but that's it. That we don't see anything else.
We have never seen her being concerned
Yeah.
about Han until this moment.
Yeah,
You're
so
right.
I'm wondering why particularly in this moment is she actually feeling concerned?
Because I'm gonna say this: she cares about her daughter. She just doesn't want to show that she cares about her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this is also a misdirection, like
Could
from the
be.
director. Like
Could
they
be.
may have wanted to go a different way with that character
Yeah,
because she doesn't act the same the rest of the time. Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah,
Not at
I
all.
agree
Yeah.
with that.
And it could have been a cutscene too. A lot of the times when you see like an over reaction from a character and then
Yeah.
a cut completely, it usually means that we didn't get to see the finish
Because
of that scene.
that
Yeah.
scene was cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
This is a
Can't
very
wait for the
long
box
episode.
set. Can't wait for the box set to see all the behind the scene footages. So I think in this moment is where I first got hints that Suhi, is that her name?
I think so.
Yeah. There's something going on with her. Like there's something to not be trusted with her. This is the first time I really
She'll
got
sketch.
I mean, I've got some hints before,
Yeah.
but this was like more like, okay, this is going to be an antagonist here.
Okay, no. So we actually do see the mom kind of talking to Haein after the sprained ankle incident.
She and Han are the same in terms of like
Not
what it
feeling-
looks like, how to suppress emotions, how to act cold, right?
And another one of those moments where she pumps up her husband without him being there, kind of be like, he's a badass. You guys are all wrong, kind of thing. She reminds him, he was a Marines in the special unit.
It's also kind of interesting that this is the one moment that they learn something about him, considering she's been married to him for 3 years.
Yeah,
I mean, she doesn't talk much about him either.
right.
Or they just don't care.
That's true.
Good. But I feel like maybe these are the moments in where she's like actually feeling proud of her husband.
Oh, this is a brother ooh moment right here. When Bumja says that she found him attractive.
She got
Which is-
handed papers with his arms.
Yeah.
His
And she
rolled up
was like,
muscular
"My heart
arms.
fluttered."
Please sign this.
And my heart fluttered.
Again, Bumja is one of my favorite characters from this.
And she's like,
Drama.
oh my god, gross, stop.
She's really only the few characters that are really true to her own like character and personality. I feel like.
Well, I also want to talk about this, like where she is defending her husband is not there. But I also feel like her husband was supposed to be the person that also stood with her when her family pushed back.
Yeah.
Right? That's when she meant of being together against all hardships and challenges. Her family is part of those hardships and challenges that she's had to deal with.
Right.
Where was
Her
he?
entire
he's doing
life.
This. That's why.
Yeah.
He's doing. Okay. He's looking for the.
He's investigating.
He's investigating the boar thing. Okay. Right.
Right.
And he shuts down though. He finds himself inferior to her family. Which is why I don't remember if you remember the previous episode, like episode 2, I believe, when it was strange for him to stand and interrupt his mother-in-law when she was speaking to defend his wife.
Right.
And they were looking at him like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
how dare you? Kind
Yeah,
of
but
thing.
how did she look?
She looked shocked,
Yeah.
actually. She was very surprised and
Right.
confused.
Because he hasn't done any of that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But when you think about like how she sees him, how she talks about him, he's supposed to be that person that's with her through everything, even through this ordeal.
Right.
He's supposed to be here against her family, who she also does not want to deal with, who's
Instead,
also
he's
being
out
abused.
looking for a boy.
No, instead
Yeah.
he's also
He's looking for the
he-
For
cause.
the cause.
well,
of, yeah.
well, not just that, but just in general, I feel
Right.
like he's victimized himself against her family. When it's both of them. Both of them are victims against her family, and he's only worried about himself and not worried about his wife, or both of them
Oh,
together.
yeah, it's true. He is not. He does not have a strong enough will to stand up against them, for sure. But can we attribute that to possible trauma that the family put him through? Considering they were so very cold to him, especially during the wedding, like they didn't even want to take pictures with him. At least the mom did.
That's true. And he also talks about the scene where he's eating the peasant.
Yeah.
That they
Like they constantly
I say
show
peasant, I
that
meant pheasant.
they constantly show that he's unwanted by the family. The family always
So this very small gesture of the father-in-law feeding him more food than normal during
Yeah.
this family gathering, to him, that's special. And they're only doing it because he saved Han,
Mhm.
right? And it's really interesting because I'm really curious, what did they think of this dude this entire time? With her defending him and everything, what did she?
Oh, they probably thought he was a mistake.
They do think he's a mistake.
Yeah.
And I can
100%.
understand the pressure of like being diminished,
Yeah.
by an entire family that's more powerful and that's just constantly bringing you down.
Yep.
But I mean, I thought their promise to each other was to withstand all of this.
And that's where he has not met standards, in
I
my
agree.
opinion. Like,
Yeah.
even when you go back to why she got with this person,
Uh-huh.
right? He was one of the first people in her life that actually showed her kindness and affection and didn't treat her a certain way based off of her role.
Yeah. Saw
in
her
the-
for who she was outside of the
Yes.
money
And
and her status.
so this is the person she chose to be with, thinking that, okay, we're gonna stand against all this, including the hardship with her family.
Right.
Because even though we are looking at a turning point on how they treat him and how they see him, this could have happened a long time ago.
This is true.
Right.
This could have happened on day one.
Yeah, and it goes to the point is how much is too much? How much coldness can you endure, or how much?
Well, that's where we're at, right?
Yeah.
Because in a way, I do agree that I believe he let this happen on his own. I mean, Han could have done a little bit to support that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, their issues alone prevented her from being effective
For sure.
at it. So even if she wanted to comfort him or she wanted to do something for him, he would have probably taken it the wrong way anyways.
Yeah.
There's actually a scene that's going to be coming up here very soon that I'm actually curious what was actually being spoken between the two of them, because we are only getting his side of it,
Uh-huh.
and it makes her sound incredibly cold and like crazy, right? And I'm actually curious, and we'll never see that. I'm just saying, like, that this is definitely one of those instances where
Yeah.
he's wanting to hear what he wants to hear.
Like all men do.
Yes.
Oh, here it comes.
Don't hold yourself back.
I mean,
Oh my god.
if we're putting Hyunwoo's character in the real world, yes, he falls incredibly short of the promises that he made to Hagen. 100%.
Incredibly short. Like if
Yeah.
you wrote it on paper, black and white, we take away like his charm,
Uh-huh.
his good looks,
Yep.
his his little
Muscular arms.
and you write down
They could
all
be
his
better.
actions. All his actions, you
Yeah.
basically come out with this person who's not only failing to meet the needs that he told his wife that he would provide.
Oh yeah, and it's the thing that
But-
hooked her. too.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's literally why she fell in love with him.
Yeah.
But he also becomes a very horrible person. Almost, you take a protagonist and turn him into a villain because now
Yeah,
he's doing
agree.
unethical things.
I want to say it's unethical. It's very underhanded.
I would
very
say it's
like.
definitely unethical.
How is it? All right. How is it ethical? How is it ethical?
Whoa!
Immoral,
What's up?
unethical, villainous things. Like if you said, "Hey, there's a man, he's here,"
Trying to help you guys
and-
out.
if you said, "Hey, this man,
Right,
he's
he
married to
is a
his
scumbag.
wife.
I agree.
He doesn't like her anymore. He wants to divorce her. He cries to anyone that'll listen that he hates
Yeah.
his life. He hates her family.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna get rid of her." And then he finds out she's dying. And then him and his friend get together and basically plot to take her money before she dies.
Where's the ethic here?
Yeah, like, so he's going to pretend to love her so he can get some cash out of it.
Listen.
How does that sound, Keone?
He could have just divorced
Pretty
her.
bad, guys.
He could have just
Not
divorced
gonna
her
lie.
without doing all of this.
True. Yeah.
He could
That
have
would have
divorced
been the
her.
ethical thing to do.
Yeah.
He
I
could have
agree.
just
I 100%
been honest with her
agree.
and said, you know
Yeah.
what, I can't do this anymore. There's nothing that we can do to change this, obviously, right? So let's just divorce. Here's the papers. And we wouldn't have a drama, obviously, right? But the point is, if this was taken out of like this drama and put
Out
in
of
real
La La
life,
Land, yeah.
yeah, we would say that the most normal and ethical thing to do would be to just end things with that person,
sure, for
not to pretend to
And
fall
drag
in
it
love
out
with them.
and keep the money. Yeah.
And I know, like, at some point, it's no longer pretend. I get that,
Yeah.
right? She hasn't seen it yet. Jannie hasn't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but
And so she's not convinced.
I'm not convinced. I'm really upset.
We have
for
an
her.
unbeliever right now.
Yeah.
And
She's
you
only
know
seen
what?
episode 5, right?
We
Yes.
got to give it to the creators of the film, the direction, because they did take, you know, again, on paper, things are pretty awful if you hear them for what they are.
Yeah.
And they create a character where you can empathize with, where you can
sure.
feel sorry for, when you really aren't supposed to. If you just, again, if you read what this person is doing, right?
Right.
And they create some really good comedic relief instances in here,
yeah.
and of course he's very good at, you know, pulling that kind of empathy from the audience. And
Oh, they do a very good job of making it seem like his underhanded schemes is him being human. Like,
Oh,
well,
100%.
a normal human would feel like this.
right.
A normal human would want to try and get money out of their dying wife. It's fucked up. Again, when you say it out loud.
Right.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where the writers did a very good job at making him likable still, even though he's doing shitty things.
Very shitty things.
They're also cushioning it with how cute he's being with her.
Oh yeah.
In these, like, there's a scene that's coming up, right? Which is technically very cringy if you really think about it.
Uh huh.
Because the scene is supposed to be cute, but also cringe because it's the first time they're going to be in the same room together, and they're sharing a bed together for like the last 3 years, right? And he's acting all. It's helpful that the actor has got his baby face and charms on. So this scene is supposed to be kind of like another moment where they're kind of feeling sorry for him, even though he's still, like, we forget for a second that he's a scheming, conniving, you know, SOB.
Say it out loud.
And we just kind of have this moment where she's getting upset that her brother kept him from her by wasting their time.
Yeah.
Right? And he's acting like all scared of her. She's still in her full clothes
Yep.
in bed. Like, and then of course this scene, help me take off my top. Oh boy. And I'm pretty sure she was waiting for him this entire time to be
That's
able
why
to
she
do-
was mad.
Yes, she's like, I wanted to do
It was
something.
more than just her heart that fluttered after getting carried. Let's be real. Come on.
Yes.
If ladies, tell me if you had a princess moment like Heian just did. Tell me how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah,
Down in the
first of all,
comments,
I would
please.
not wait for him that long. I would have been like, upstairs now.
That's an alpha right there.
Well, technically, her personality is supposed to be a little bit more forward.
Yeah,
a little
more
bit.
dominant for
Yeah.
sure.
But she's not that forward though, because it's so funny.
Do you think though this is the South Korean sensibility?
So
play?
that's funny that you say that.
Uh-huh.
So Kim Ji-won was asked actually in a fan meeting recently about her character,
Yeah.
and they were like, "What do you think?" I don't think it's a fan meeting. I'm sorry, it was an interview, and they were like, "What do you think her MBTI is?" Right, and I can't believe she said that she believes the MBT, and I don't know if she just said it like just because she just wanted to just answer the question. 'Cause
Right.
It seems very much rushed that she was just like, it's this, right?
Uh-huh.
She said ENTJ, and I wouldn't agree
Okay.
with that. There's a J in there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's no way it's ENTJ, and I
Right.
say that because she's very reserved about everything. She doesn't seek out a lot of things either, right?
Right.
She waits.
Mm.
When she does
She's a
seek out,
planner.
yeah, when she does seek out something, she doesn't show that she's seeking out something. So she's more of like a little spy, right?
Yeah.
That's just watching everything.
Intuitive, very intuitive.
Yes, but I would say she's more INTJ than anything.
But we see cracks in her little INTJ armor here, where she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm feeling for my husband again."
Yeah, but she's not going. She's not being proactive about it. And again, that is a Korean thing too. I think it's a
Yes.
Korean thing where.
You don't want to be forward. You don't want to be too
I don't
forward.
think that's her. I don't think that's also her character's personality. I think that she's definitely someone that wants to be chased.
Yeah.
And get attention thrown towards her. And if she is showing anything towards them, it's very minute and it's very like specific and personal, like one-on-one. It's not going to be throwing herself on him kind of thing.
Would it be seen as a negative for her character as well as women who are like her if she was more forward?
I think we see that with the ant. I think they made
Yes.
the ant
Yep.
what an extreme of her personality would be.
Yes.
That's a good point. Yes.
And it's comical, right?
Yeah.
They're basically saying that no, this is not the ideal.
But she's seen as lesser in a sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's not seen as the ideal Korean woman, right?
Mhm.
Who's classy and
For sure.
elegant.
Yep.
She is seen as aggressive and
Crazy.
Yes.
Out of
Yes.
control,
Uh-huh.
right?
yes. So again, they don't like that kind of forwardness.
Interesting. Yeah.
In a weird way, I think all three Hong women
Uh-huh.
are all versions of each other in one extreme or the other.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you think about her mom too,
Uh-huh.
her mom's very much like her,
Right.
but in a different way still, right?
The more reserved, more like...
I
don't
wouldn't
think
say she's
reserved?
reserved at all. She's aggressive.
Okay.
When she found out,
She's passive aggressive though too.
she's also aggressive. She was trying to fight her daughter all the time.
Right.
Like when
She's not afraid of her daughter.
that's true.
Like, I mean, I don't know if it is. I'm moving up to the wedding scene, right? Where
She was being passive aggressive towards her in-laws.
Yes.
Yes,
Very
correct.
much so.
right.
Yeah.
So, but she doesn't have like obviously when you're a parent and you're talking to your child, you're not going to be afraid of your child, so you're going to be
Right.
aggressive with them.
Yeah.
And with other people, she seems very petty.
Yes, she is. She is passive aggressive towards people that she doesn't have a lot of control or power over, and then of course her children or family members, she'll go pretty crazy too. She's extremely aggressive towards her kids in terms of I'm going to count him as her kid, like son-in-law,
Sure.
right? And she's been always trying to attack them because she is fiercely defensive of her son's position in the family. To the point where she's willing to like completely cut off her daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that they're all
So
versions
her
of
aggressiveness, her protectiveness.
I would say that all three women are all versions of each other
Yeah.
in just different extremities.
For sure. I can definitely see that.
This is cute, and I just feel bad for her because again, it keeps stirring emotions in her,
Yeah.
right? Since the boar thing.
And at this point, we're still on the boat that it's very fucked up that he's doing this to her, stirring her emotions when he himself is not
Yes,
genuine.
because right soon after we get past these scenes of her, remembering the good times,
Yeah.
reminding him of the good times too, because this flashback you're watching right here, where where he's talking about sleeping arrangements, and she told him, "You don't remember the last time we shared a bed that was smaller than this?" And he was like, "When was that?"
Yeah.
And she didn't forget.
That's because she's still in love with him and he doesn't love her. He is horrible. Sorry. It's just like, and this is what I mean. Like, a lot of people have said, oh, she's very cold. She's unfeeling. She's not.
Oh, no, she remembers.
She remembers, and everything means something to her. There's a lot. She feels more than he does, I believe. Even though just because she doesn't show it
She
doesn't
doesn't
mean she's
show
not.
it the same way he
For
does.
sure.
And this is what really people don't understand. But the creators and the writers are trying to prove a point. Like, look at this is just because she is this way doesn't mean that
She never fell in love or fell out of love.
Oh, she never did. Never did. Even though he
She never took anything for granted.
Never.
Remember
Never.
the last time I talked about how she always waits for him,
Uh-huh.
even though he had in the previous episode 2, he had told her, "I know you never wait for me. I know that more than anyone."
Mm-hmm.
Once again, another scene where she was waiting up for him.
Yeah.
Where have you been? Why have you taken so long to get to bed? What's going on, right? She was
Yep.
waiting for him. I was like, well, how many more times do we have to count these?
We can keep going for all the fans that don't see what
man.
we're talking about. No, but really,
And
like,
from my understanding, a lot of fans
Don't see it this
don't
way at
see
all.
it that way at all.
Yeah, they are very much thinking he's idealistic.
Rose-colored glasses for Hyunwoo.
Yeah.
well, and here's
100%.
the thing that just shows you the power of, of writing and direction,
For
right?
sure.
Because they're painting again this picture, and they painted a beautiful picture of this man who looks ideal.
Yeah.
But he's not. You have to really look into the surface and they're giving you all the hints. They're giving you all the information.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving you all her backstory and what is really going on with her. I think it's very interesting, of the human psyche that we're willing to accept this man
Yep.
and all his faults, but we're willing to overlook everything she's throwing at you too. Because she's throwing everything. Like she said, the flashback,
Yeah.
her defending, her saying basically, I'm still in love with him. I still love this man.
Yeah.
Out
Out loud.
Yes,
Really. Yeah.
right? And we're just like, no, she's cold. No, she's not. She's protecting her feelings as much as anyone can in this kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting to see the pushback from people on both sides.
And it could just also be her personality not to always wear her heart on her sleeve, kind of
Well,
thing.
funny you say that because she's being very direct with him right here in this scene.
Oh my.
And she's literally asking him if he wants to cuddle.
I mean, why are you turning that down?
Because he's
Oh,
a
come back, baby.
coward.
Yes, he's a coward.
She
She's being
is.
so direct with him right here.
She's giving him the green light. Yeah.
100%.
And yet,
And then he rejects her.
do you
Once
think? Do you
again.
think?
He
Do you
rejects her
think?
throughout
Yeah.
multiple episodes.
Do you
Yeah.
think this rejection though is because of the guilt he feels of what he's doing? Do you think he's feeling any form of guilt?
Yeah,
at all?
I think so.
You
But at the
think?
same time, he also feels awkward.
Mm-hmm.
He's already an awkward person.
Oh yeah.
And I believe his awkwardness about affections went away. I'm sorry. It started, I should say, ever since the power dynamic tilted a little bit.
Okay.
Now, the only time that I saw that it was still consistent, which I think the writers did this intentionally just so we can see a beautiful honeymoon, was during their honeymoon, right? Because I'm pretty sure power shifted the minute he realized he's no longer the White Knight.
Yeah.
And now he feels awkward towards how he's being affectionate towards her. Now, again, the honeymoon scene, I'm going to have to say that that's like something that is separate from everything else because it's not consistent, right?
Yeah.
But if we were to try to explain why that happened, it could be they're away from her family, so now he feels like he can be himself again with her. And she's always very careful, too, to not show like she's somehow better than him, right? And that she wants him to feel equal. At one point, though, she didn't give a crap
Yeah.
anymore.
She never even.
She didn't give a crap about making him feel that way anymore. She
Yeah.
just let it happen. And
Yeah.
it was because of how he was responding to
Right.
her.
Mhm.
So I would say, yeah, his constant rejection, his constant running away, his distance towards her makes her feel even more colder and unsure of his feelings towards
For
her.
sure. Yeah.
And then this jealousy nonsense with Eun-sung is the
Oh my
only
God.
thing that really awakens him to try to do things
It really
for her.
does.
Yeah.
That's another thing that really pissed me off. And the reason I say that is because, Linda when we talk about it, off the record, right? And she asked me,
Roll
well,
the
what did
credits.
what did you think about, him basically stepping up and trying to get in between these two?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, bullshit. Like, I think, sorry, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah, you're
Yeah, you're fine.
I don't know why I was censoring myself the entire time. Yes.
I was like,
cussing ever
bullshit.
since.
Like, I mean, I saw this, and then a lot of people probably like swooned and were like, "Ooh, look at him! He's stepping
Defending
up."
her honor.
No, that's not it at all. This is just two little boys now.
Oh, yeah.
Stepping up and saying, "You can't play with my toy." I know
Uh-huh.
I wasn't
This
playing with
is
my toy, but
playground
that's
shit.
this is my toy. You can't play with it.
Oh, pain's more than a toy.
obviously,
Of
but that's
course.
how they're putting it as.
No, and that's exactly what it is. This is like, he's trying to. He would not have cared at all at all. Obviously, there's other things pulling her attention. There's
Right.
other things pulling her away from him that he doesn't get in between of at all. But now we have another male who he sees as a rival.
So you think it's just primal instincts at this point?
Oh,
where it's like-
100%. 100% is like, okay, there's another male who's interested in my wife. I don't
Right.
care if I'm not interested in my wife.
Yeah.
He can't have her because she's my wife.
So let's just talk about that for 1 second. I know this scene, I believe, does not happen in season in episode 3, but I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember. I don't think it happens yet. I think it's going to happen. It already happened, actually. It happened in the last episode where Eun-sung intercepted Hae-in as she was walking into the house while it was raining and intercepted her with an umbrella, and they were fighting. Like, Hyun-woo was fighting with her.
Hasn't happened yet.
Yes, it has. It was
Has
last
it?
episode. Yes, because they had returned from Yeongdori. No?
Nope. This has not happened yet.
God damn it. That's next episode. I'm sorry.
We're gonna have to do our homework before we do these podcasts. So.
I just it's hard because I'm
Yeah.
watching it again, but then I'm
The
also
only thing
watching it
we-
with Jannie, and
yeah.
so I get it confused, like where
The
we're
last
at.
thing we know of Eun-sung is
Okay,
they were
so-
at the gala. That's it.
Okay, so well, it's not a spoiler anymore because you should have already seen everything, okay, before you watch or
Fair,
listen to this
fair, yeah.
listen to this podcast. And if you didn't, sorry, spoiled it for you. So, what I wanted to talk about was the fact that a lot of viewers have defended Hyun-woo's actions and behavior because they believe that Hae-in also wasn't acting appropriate during this time anyways. And in one of the particular scenes that we are talking about is the scene that I was recalling that actually hasn't happened yet in this timeline, and it's when Eun-sung intercepts her from Hyun-woo, and she allows him to put his arms around her and take her away, right?
Yeah.
Away from her husband, in front of her husband, right? And so they basically said that she's no better than Hyun-woo because in these scenes where she's disrespecting him, not honoring their marriage and
Sure.
whatever, right? So what about that? Let's just talk about that for a
Okay.
second. So for me,
Yeah. Female
Personally-
perspective.
for me personally, I think it's a breath of fresh air for her.
Sure.
Okay, because
And why? Why?
Because in this moment, and you don't really see it, she starts to see it slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I believe right after that scene, she really sees it, and she's like, hey, about it, right? It's because for the first time, as you're seeing, he keeps rejecting her up to this point, right? He continues to reject her in that episode too. It's refreshing to see him showing a side of jealousy, which means he still cares.
Right.
Even if it's and gives her attention, right? And she's like, good, I'm making you feel something about me, right?
Yeah.
That means you still care. But it's really frustrating that that's the only time she is seeing that from him up to this point. And obviously, we're not there yet this episode, but I just wanted to talk about that because I feel like a lot of people are really...
Oh, yeah, they'll see only the surface part of it.
They
where
really
it's like,
only want to say that it's this is both of them, like, their faults.
Yeah.
Why their relationship isn't working out and why they have all these problems. And I'm like, okay, I guess, if you want to talk about it in, like, a grand, like, overview. But in these particular scenes, I will say that Hae-in is actually not benefiting from any of this the most than Hyun-woo. Even if Eun-sung is constantly trying to take her away. What do you think about that?
I agree. I do. She's going over all her prized possessions, and I think it's really funny that obviously she planned to live a very long life. And
to actually enjoy them all.
yes, and she looks into his room, she sees him sleeping, and what does she say?
You'd be a waste too.
Yes. The biggest waste.
Biggest waste.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, she collected them. For sure.
Come on, it's not a collection. Okay, she's talking about
right, and she
her regrets.
Right, and she's finally realizing again her feelings up front for him and all the possibilities that come with that. And so seeing kind of this early end to her life and not being able to enjoy it with him is definitely the thing that she is likely mentioning about. Oh, you're the biggest waste. Like it would be the biggest waste to
So
not
the
enjoy
scene-
my time with you.
So the scene that comes after this is contrasting what she's saying to him privately, right? Her conversations for herself, actually. It wasn't even for him to hear. It was just her saying it out loud, right? So it contrasts the following scene where she's with her secretary, and there's this really goofy scene where she's like seemingly falling head over heels for her husband, and then was like, is there something wrong with me? Why is this happening?
Right.
So it's funny that they're showing that because she obviously knows she's falling for her husband again, right? Yeah. I mean, she cares about him still. But it's funny that she's questioning why she's doing that in front of the secretary.
Well, because it's in front of the secretary.
Exactly.
She can't be honest with herself with other people there.
It's about what she looks like.
Yeah. All about her image.
But it's also kind of this little quirky moment because she's like, is there something going on with my personality?
Kind of cute. It's really cute.
It's supposed to be a cute moment for her, yeah. It's supposed to be a cute moment. And I just think it's funny that she was so sure when she said that to him, and then now she's like, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
I think it's also a really cute cultural view of how people view spouses, right? Like in America, there's a certain way how people view spouses, and in Korea, they're just like, haha, it's really common to be like, ew, husband.
Yeah.
Like, no, we stopped feeling for them a while ago, right? Where obviously that person needs to go get checked because they're dying.
Yeah.
Right? So, and this is a perfectly healthy person who's just like, ew.
Yeah, two married women having a conversation about, is it normal for me to still be attractive? Find my husband
like,
attractive?
ew,
and
brother,
like,
no.
yeah,
Exactly. That's literally her, brother. Ew.
Go to the doctor. Something's wrong with you.
And it's really funny because obviously something is wrong with her. Brain scan. She needs to get a brain scan. And she's like,
The irony behind that statement.
Yeah, and she's like,
And
look
she
at
has
her.
no idea. Yeah.
Right.
She really doesn't.
But yeah, so I just think that it's really, these are moments where you're seeing more of her perspectives again about how she truly cares about him, and they're making fun of her personality changes right now, right? Yeah. And now they're bringing up how she's being empathetic all of a sudden, right? Towards random things like a cat on the street that she's suddenly feeding. Or like her employees that she's observing having a hard time. And again, this isn't really her illness condition. This is just because she's opening her heart now to feel certain things.
And what do you think is triggering in that inside of her?
Henwoo.
I think it's also her illness, honestly.
And it's what?
I think it's her illness. And
Her
the reason
illness?
I say this is that when people are faced with mortality, it changes your perspective
For sure.
on the world. You start, things start tasting better. The world looks prettier because now you're seeing what you're going to be missing.
So are we diminishing Hyunwoo's impact on her emotional release?
No. I think he's definitely, like Linda said, is
Part of it.
a huge part of it, right?
He's
Because now...
a huge part of her life.
Right.
Too.
I think now we're seeing her have the feelings that she's always had. She's obviously, in my head, she still loves him very much. But now she is imagining herself to actually have those same feelings reciprocated right back and have those feelings with him together again like they used to, right? That's what I think. But yes, mortality is a huge and serious issue, which they've again thrown comedic themes into it, which is fine. It makes it
easier to digest it.
Yes.
Too, right.
Right, but I mean, again, she is faced with death.
I agree. I think that if she had had that illness alone, and if she didn't have Hyunwoo there, she would probably probably have a different take on life. For sure, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna say that it's the combination of her illness as well as renewed feelings for her husband because of his actions towards her. Because it's not just, if we take his actions away, it would still be another day for her dealing with her illness, right? But because of his actions towards her, which is why it's very fucked
It's
up.
partial genuine. actions
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh.
ingenuine actions at this point.
Questionable actions at this point is what's kind of like, making her
Right.
feel certain things, certain ways, right?
Okay, so half a point to Hyunwoo still. Just
Oh my god.
for those of you who are keeping track.
Keanu's back on defend Hyunwoo in this episode.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I agree. He at this point still is a complete and utter asshole for what he does, but he's still looking out for her. He still is. There are hints and flashes of his genuine side, I believe.
Do we want to talk about the in-laws visiting and almost ruining the plot? Because for me, this part is important, but isn't important anymore in the grand scheme of things.
And also going back to what we said earlier about the grandson or Haen's uncle, it was kind of a pointless side story.
I believe Jannie said that it was just to highlight the gravity of the family dynamics, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the scene that Jannie's been dying to talk about.
What scene's that?
This right here.
Oh,
scene
okay. The dinner.
Han and Unsum.
The meeting that Herman was supposed to be at.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he had to go watch a child flip over or something.
Developmental things.
Yes.
Yeah, Lena, important.
Yeah.
Wow.
I side with Han on this one. She's like, really? This was important.
Okay, this is what I really want to highlight. Again, they are superimposing two scenes at the same time during this thing, right? The meeting's obviously not happening. Now she has to deal with this jerkface who just obviously wants to seduce her but sucks at it.
Basically.
He does. I'm so sorry.
This is one of many times that he does this, but go on.
Yes, true.
But it also highlights that she's not interested. Like, it basically showing the people, yes, this man is obviously interested in her. She doesn't care.
She's just using him to get to the
exactly.
$1 trillion club.
This is business, and that's all she's really interested in, right?
Pretty much.
But he's doing a lot to basically challenge her feelings or her thoughts about
100%.
her husband. That's what he wants. He wants to put the
Fucking
seed
snake.
of doubt, the seed of doubt of his love for her, right? And but right now we're seeing two things. We're seeing her husband freaking out about the text that his sister sent, right?
Actually, before that he freaked out about that, he freaked out that she was having dinner with Unsum.
Yeah.
Right.
That was the first thing he freaked out. Then he freaked out about the text.
Right, so you're basically seeing
Jealousy.
two things. Right now, she is defending her relationship with this horrible man, and he's freaking out because he's about to get caught in his shenanigans.
He's about to get caught.
Right? So, again, I'm just like, how do people, like, see this and think, oh my god, like, she's awful and he's great. Like, it's... But no, again, right, we want him to win. We want him to delete that text message. We want him to...
Save his marriage.
Oh, that is such a scummy thing to do.
But why do we want it? Do we want it?
Text messages?
Yes,
Oh my
going through
God.
her personal phone and deleting messages that were meant for her, not for him. How scummy is that? How scummy is
So
that?
fucking bad.
Not only is it bad, I don't know a single man that wouldn't lose his mind
Neither would I.
if a woman did that. So, yeah, like he did basically what most men would consider unforgivable.
Oh yeah, especially nowadays where like you need to trust your partner if you want things to be successful. And the fact that you're going through their personal stuff.
But let's be real about this. Even if that was what he wanted to do, how the heck is he going to stop that text message from going in? It's already too late. So what would have been the appropriate response then if this happened?
So if she read the text message?
If he didn't go through her phone. Which, by the way, we're skipping to the next episode about going through her phone. Just so you guys know. Yeah, because this episode ends before that happened.
But he's still trying to obviously get to the phone.
Yes, he is trying to get to the phone. This episode actually ends at them kissing.
At the tree, she's drunk.
Tree, and she's drunk. Yeah, that's actually where it ends, yes. So my question to you is, if this text message got sent, it's too late to delete, to unsend it, what would have been an appropriate response then?
Yeah.
It's hard, right? That the plot would have been moved up faster. The divorce would have already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, you want to root for him. You don't want her to find out that he's a shitty person.
Yeah. Because
Right?
the other option is a shittier person.
That's
Well,
true.
that's
That's what the writers did, is they gave you the shittier option, so then Hyun Woo looks so much better.
But at the same time, like they're doing it so. Again, you're rooting for him because you don't want her to find out, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the plot right now, right? That's the plot of when is she gonna find out.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this the first time with Bated Beth.
Bated Beth. If you're listening, Bated Beth.
Damn it. I was gonna say something wrong again too. Bated breath. Because I was waiting for her to find out.
Oh yeah, we were all like on the edge of our seats for that moment.
From this episode all the way to episode 6,
I
think, right?
Probably.
I think it's 6. I could be wrong. It might be 5 actually. I think 5 might. Did you finish 5?
5 is where.
Or did you just start at 5?
No, I finished 5.
Okay, yeah, so it's episode 6. Yeah. So.
Spoiler warning.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, I'm not gonna go on. I'm just gonna say that we waited up until episode 6.
Third of the way.
Yeah, because we were trying to like figure out when is she going to
inevitable.
find out. Yes.
Yeah.
And they dragged this on for a minute.
Painfully.
Yeah. They dragged this on for a minute of the when will she find out?
And when it happens, it's like, oh, okay, we'll get to it when we get to that episode. But
this scene right here is another tug of war.
Oh yeah.
Between.
It's like 2 dogs fighting over a piece of meat.
And what's sad is that she's not that drunk. Number 1. She's not that drunk. She's listening to them talk about this. Number 2, she was just done telling him to fuck off.
Yeah.
And that she was like, it's not appropriate for what you're asking me.
But he's making it. Yun Sung is so sneaky that he's making it seem so much that he had such a good time with her. He's looking out for her.
Please take good care of her, he says to the husband.
The audacity. How dare another man tell my wife to take care and be good.
Yeah, right? It's like, how dare you not think I can take care of her, right?
Yeah, he's definitely doing everything.
The clash of egos is...
He's doing everything. He's like, what are you doing? Get in already. Leave.
He's doing everything to get under his skin.
Seriously. And he's doing such a good job.
And it's working.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much, though.
No.
You gotta just have...
To any male, really.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the end of the episode, and this is about the whole her acting impulsively. She's saying that I'm going to try new things from now on. I'm going to do whatever I want. Say what I want because I want to continue to experience life while I still have it, right? And again, this part, like you said, just completely tells the story about how shitty it is that she doesn't see the same scenes that we're watching. She sees it so differently versus what he sees.
Right.
She sees herself as, I'm not gonna, if there's an opportunity for me to show affection towards my husband, I'm gonna do it. If there's a moment where I can say something to him, I'm going to do it.
Yep.
Because it's our marriage is broken,
and
right?
he doesn't see that.
He sees it as, I gotta save my skin right now or else I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh, this is amazing too. She also says that she lived her life in such a certain way, such a healthy way. For what? Right?
Yep.
For what?
For
For
what?
why?
Yeah.
But now she even says, I will, kill every scumbag that betrays me. And the look on his face, guilt, guilt-ridden. Because he knows he is wrong.
Yeah.
He knows it. And,
and he's doing everything to try to get under her good graces.
Yeah, she's like, so where's your phone?
Yeah.
Well, did your phone turn off? I tried calling it. Where's it? And that's all he focuses on. So that's why, to me, this scene got ruined because of what he's trying to accomplish the entire time.
Because he's being scummy.
Yeah. Because this scene would have been really cute.
Oh, again, don't be afraid. I know you would never betray me.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
No, well,
foreshadowing.
It is foreshadowing. We already know he betrayed her. We already know he's being underhanded. He is backstabbing.
And it's so heartbreaking to see her trust.
But, she just said that to him to his face because she believes 100%.
He's the only one who has stood by her side, so why would he betray her?
Exactly.
Right? Oh, man.
It's so sad. Girl,
there's more men out there.
one's right here.
Wow.
I'll take care of you.
Wow.
I have a house. I don't have 26 cows, though, but...
Wait, I feel like that number went down.
How many cows did he have?
I don't know, but I feel like we're just saying random numbers at this point.
It's an X number of cows.
I think this scene was cute, but she's like, I found it. It was in my pocket. Ha ha, so silly.
Oh, and then the sinking feeling of, oh no, I'm
By
about
the
to
way,
get caught.
that moment that that happened, that was pure Kim Ji-won. That was not hanging anymore.
So, is he freaking out because of what she had just said about how she would kill someone that would betray her?
Well,
or is he still trying to just...
Text message.
It's
Right.
totally the text message.
It's the text
I
message.
know he's trying to save the text message, right? But
Yeah.
is he freaking out because he doesn't want her to think that she betrayed him? Or he betrayed her, I'm sorry?
Yes.
He just doesn't want to get caught.
He doesn't want to get caught,
Yeah.
actually, because right now his plan
Oh, yeah.
is for her to die and
Fucked up when you think about it. When you say it out loud. I mean.
and to rewrite her will, remember?
Yep.
And to not divorce her.
Just in case if everyone forgot how scummy of a dude he is.
So that's what he's worried about. It's going to ruin his plan. So no.
Is it his plan or fear that she's going to think that he betrayed her, though?
No,
No.
I think it's the plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this whole... If you listen to our podcast, we talked.
Please listen to the last 4 episodes. 3 episodes? Last 3 episodes.
We talked about how his fear of her isn't real. His fear of her is a comedic spin that they constantly want to the writers and the directors keep wanting to put on him to make his character likable and cute and whatever.
And it gives a break from all the major
Yeah.
drama of it.
And
really.
that's kind of like a trope, right?
Yeah.
What is it called? Not a trope.
Comedic relief.
Running gag,
Yeah.
right? It's a running gag that everyone's afraid of her. He's afraid of her. That's it.
Yeah.
But in terms of what he's doing right here,
Oh my.
oh, I know he does not deserve the scene.
He really doesn't.
He does not deserve this beautiful kiss scene.
No
that
man
he's-
deserves that scene.
Wow.
But in this moment, it would be to preserve his mission. I believe
Yeah.
that wholeheartedly.
I
So-
agree.
Aw, she's so into it.
Yeah, she's
Oh.
so into it. And look at him, he's like, what the hell? Are we really kissing right
He's
now?
like, oh.
He's kissing with his eyes open.
Yeah,
Body
oh,
foul.
that is red flag.
Red
Major red flag.
Yep, red
When
flag.
you
So she
kiss with your eyes open.
She still loves him, and he is
Yeah,
interested in his...
There
Yeah.
we go. That's
That's the
clearly
difference.
the difference.
Major difference.
They
Yeah.
made him kiss her with his eyes open.
Yeah.
Yep. So behind the scene, it's so funny because they really wanted to get the angle right on that kiss to highlight her features.
Right.
And it's so funny because Ji-won's like, is it like this? Do I need to turn my head this way? Yeah. And he was just waiting for her to kiss him because he wasn't supposed to move.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to move or kiss her back or anything, and his eyes were supposed to be wide open because, again, his feelings aren't
Yep.
there. So we really want to talk about when did his genuine feelings start? Not right
Not
there.
yet. Nope, not at all.
Not right there. Because
Clearly,
you wouldn't
yeah.
have just froze.
And have your eyes wide open.
Yep.
Hashtag eyes wide open.
So she's recalling a scene. Did you just say hashtag eyes wide
You don't have to repeat it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, brother. Ugh.
You're about to get murked. Foreshadowing.
So this is a scene from Germany during their honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about how she thinks the palace of no suffering is silly. Because she thinks it's silly because everybody will suffer, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing important about this is about what she says right here. We should stay true to ourselves and not act out of character just because we're dying. Hyunwoo.
Mm-hmm.
Big Hyunwoo.
Yep.
And again, it's a big, huge red sign to the audience that she never changed who she was.
Not at all. She's been true.
She is. He fell in love with her, and he fell out of love with the same person.
Yep. And it wasn't because of what happened during the relationship in terms of like her personality changes is what caused them to break up. It was about other things,
Yeah.
right? She never changed. He did.
Yep.
She was always. He did. He changed.
I'll withhold the comment about her and her character change. That being said, though, yes, she has been genuine
Okay,
throughout.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's not for a while.
Yeah, so
But
that's
that
why I'm
change
withholding.
is very minute, though.
Very, but it was very impactful to Hyunwoo.
Yeah. We
So
don't care.
we'll
about
get to that
right
when the moment comes.
right now, this is about.
It's tantamount, okay?
Oh God. Okay.
It's like a linchpin of why he's feeling the way he feels.
But that is the end of episode 3.
Yep.
And we hope you enjoyed. Jannie, thank you for joining us
Of course,
Yeah.
it was fun.
for this complete chaos that ensued.
And if any of you would like to guest star in our podcast, feel free to shoot us a message or a comment, and we'll try and get back to you.
Please watch the show beforehand.
Yes.
Because we are
was a
not
struggle.
responsible for the
spoilers. Thanks, Jannie.
Yeah, seriously. Keone, I swear. You didn't get the hint earlier when she asked the question, and I was like, about how the mom
Hashtag
and
not my fault.
Wow.
Unsen were like related, and I was like, well,
Oh, okay, stop reminding her.
Anyways, thanks guys.
All right.
We'll catch you later.
Have a good one. Bye.